What would happen if a man and a woman switched roles? She would earn money and he would stay home and take care of the house.
It would be like you said. It would look that way on the outside, but inside it would be different. A woman who earns money while her husband stays home will feel like she's been violated. If she were just earning money and the man wasn't staying home, many women would be fine with that. She'd have no problem earning money. Some women enjoy earning money more than staying home. Some women don't like taking care of the house, cleaning, laundry, cooking. It's just too hard for them. Some women find work easy, but for some men, work is tough while household chores are easy. People sometimes switch roles. But a woman is born to enjoy the money her husband earns, and to enjoy the atmosphere where she is served in this way, through his sacrifices. She is born to enjoy what her husband gives her in life. And that woman will miss out on that enjoyment. Even if she likes working, she'll still miss that joy. She will suffer from the fact that other women's husbands work while her husband doesn't, even if they've agreed that he stays home because they have a small child and she works. This could be for many reasons. Sometimes a woman can make money in the snap of her fingers. She works for 2 or 3 hours and a ton of money just falls into her lap. She doesn't even have to try hard. It happens. Meanwhile, for a man, earning money means working like crazy for 8 hours and still making the same or even less money. So they agree that the woman will earn money and the man will stay home. Maybe he's great at cooking. He's a really good, kind person, and kids love him. Even in this case, she will feel like she's unlucky in life, like she has to be the one earning. For a woman, this feeling is so heavy, it feels like she's being violated. That's the feeling. Who agrees, women? Raise your hands. The first thing is this feeling. But it's not just her feelings, everyone will have them. Do you know that money isn't just paper? It carries energy. And if, for example, the money is earned through robbery, that energy destroys the lives of those who use it. You know that, right? Even holy people and wise people can see the energy of money. Some wise people won't accept donations from just anyone. They look at the energy and say, I won't take this money. It will destroy lives. Because they can see the energy in the money. There's cold energy in money, and then there's hot energy. When a woman earns money, that money carries hot energy. What does that mean? It means the energy burns everyone. Even the woman who earns it. Let's say she earns the money. The purpose of money is to be spent. But the woman who earns it can't psychologically handle it if someone else spends that money, especially if it's not according to her wishes. If she earned the money, she either spends it herself as she sees it, or she will suffer greatly if someone else spends it in a way she didn't approve of. Her husband might spend some, if that's her wish. For example, he might buy something for himself, like a massage chair with her money, because she has been thinking about his health. She'll feel okay if it's something like that, something she wanted too. But if he buys something for himself that he wanted, not something she wanted, she will suffer terribly because those earnings will burn her. Do you understand? And when a woman earns, that money constantly burns. Because in a family it can't just be that money is spent only on her terms. After all, it's not just the woman who has desires, right? Although women's desires are the strongest in the family. But they're not the only desires in the family. When a woman's money is spent on other people's desires, it's like she's burning her hand on fire. That's the kind of psychological burn that happens. Whether you want it or not, that's just how the nature of money works. What happens when a man's money is spent? Is there a burn? Women are laughing. No burn at all. She spends it, and there's no burn. You spent it all, and that's it. He forgets about it in 5 minutes.
But the man gets burned.
Oh, come on. He's just pretending to be scared because if he doesn't act scared, it'll get worse. That's not all. I've mentioned 2 main things that happen in a family when the woman earns and the man doesn't. Even if everything seems fine between them, they will have 2 things. First, the woman will feel like she's been taken advantage of just because she's earning. Second, when the money is spent, if she's not the one spending it, she'll have a hard time handling it. Because it's hard for a man to deal with a woman who's being greedy with spending money. She might say she'll spend a certain amount, but then spends way more. If a woman doesn't get greedy and he gives her the money and she spends it as agreed, then the man's happy. There's no problem at all. But if the woman gives the money to the man and he says how much he'll spend and then he spends it, it'll still upset her if it's for him. Remember this, it's not because I say so, it's just how this world works. That's why women's money is hot. It's better if a man earns more than a woman. That way it's easier for everyone to live. You can argue with me all you want, but that's the truth.
Can a man and woman share household duties, do things together? For example, the husband vacuums and the wife mops the floor.
Yes, they can divide the chores. Let's say the man is vacuuming and the wife is mopping the floor. But whatever the wife asks the husband to do, she'll end up finishing it herself. Not because he did it poorly, but because he'll never be able to do it the way a woman would. He'll do it well, like a man, but she'll still spot dust in places where even a lab technician under a microscope wouldn't see it. She's got a scanner. She sees dust everywhere, even where there is none, so she'll still finish the job or be somewhat dissatisfied. Well, that's just the compromise. Sometimes a woman takes care of little kids, and it's really hard for her to manage everything in the house. Sometimes the house is just too big. Maybe they bought or built a big house but didn't hire a housekeeper. They have to do everything themselves. Then they'll have to involve other family members, but if the daughter helps, the mother will be fine with it. But if it's a son or a man, well, sorry women, men's feelings don't work the same way as yours. They don't have that ability to scan everything that's going on. They don't have the same aesthetic sense. And how to do everything around the house properly. A man doesn't have that ability. There are rare exceptions, but they're really rare. There's always an exception. Now, for example, if we post this on Instagram, some guy will still argue and say, I do all the cleaning and my wife is happy. That's an exception. That's not how it usually works. That's an exception. It's not right. Now, moving on to online questions.
Who should be the role model for a healthy lifestyle in a family, a man or a woman?
Dr. Torsunov. An elder, a mentor should be the role model, neither a man nor a woman specifically. Of course, the woman is asking this question 100%. And she'd like the man to be the role model. That's her dream. That's why a man would never ask such a question. Who should be the role model? He would never assume the woman should be the role model in the family. If the husband does asceticism practices, it always makes the woman happy. But my dears, just because he's doing asceticism practices doesn't mean he'll become her role model. The more he does asceticism practices, the more relaxed and comfortable she feels. Because she needs the husband to do them. That makes her feel good. She's relaxed. She's not stressed out. That's the first thing. The second thing is, a woman will never, except in rare cases, do asceticism practices by following her husband. It's usually the opposite. If the husband tries to make her do asceticism practices, she will rebel. A woman might easily do asceticism practices with another woman. She likes doing them with a friend. But if her husband forces her to do asceticism practices, that's the worst thing that could happen to her. It's such an offense for a woman that her husband forces her to perform asceticism practices. Anyone but the husband. If Dr. Torsunov tells me, that's fine. But if my husband tries to make me follow asceticism practices, then no way. Of course, this is only if the woman has any dignity. For example, if I tried to force my wife to do asceticism practices, the reaction would be very bad. And today, for the first time in my life, I said to her, come on, get in the water. What are you waiting for? Why did I say that? Because we had just had a long flight and I wanted her to be in good health. It was important for her to get in, to feel better. That's a fact. And that made it harder for her to get in because she was already planning to. But when I said it, she was like, you go ahead. That's the usual response. No, wait, I didn't say it that way. I said, why are you only waist deep? Get in all the way. So, of course, that was met with a certain response from her. So, my dears, a husband will never be a role model for a wife. The question you asked it incorrectly. Of course, you would like him to do asceticism practices, but that doesn't mean you're going to follow his example. The role model in life, for both men and women, is always their elder. Next questions.
Actually, this question was asked by a man.
Really? Then I'm not sure what he meant. Why is he asking about that? I never get such questions. Should a wife be a role model for me in asceticism practices? That's a silly question.
What if a man makes comments about how things are run at home? For example, the woman prefers a certain order in the kitchen, but the man doesn't like it and interferes with the way things are done. Should they follow what the husband says or what the wife prefers?
Who is asking the question, woman or man?
A woman.
If it were a man, it would be worse. So if the husband interferes, when the woman has cleaned and tidied up, but he doesn't like it. Of course, there are different situations. Sometimes a woman likes a cosmic design. Or, for example, she might like the teapots hanging upside down. She might like an airless space. We had a topic about airless spaces. I don't know, sometimes women have all sorts of ideas in their heads about design that are impractical. In those cases, of course, the man might complain, but in general it's very clear a man shouldn't get involved in this topic at all. Because a woman is deeply connected to her surroundings. A woman's egoism is tightly bound to her environment, and egoism is the energy that is better not to mess with by anyone, neither women nor men. For example, a man's egoism is strongly tied to his opinions. There's the woman's opinion about something in the family, and then there's the man's opinion. And it's better for the woman not to get involved with the man's opinion because she's going to be dealing with very harsh energies. A man's egoism is very much tied to his opinion. That's how it works with men. For women, though, egoism is strongly tied to the home environment. Every woman has it, some more, some less. So it's better for the man not to get involved in that at all. Sometimes a man's ego might get into the home environment, but that's abnormal for a man. That's an exception. If that happens in a man's life, it's his problem because he'll just end up ruining his family life over this issue. No woman will like it if her husband interferes with how she cleans. She cleans, and it should please him. He should be walking around in awe, thinking how wonderful it is because she cleaned. Even if he doesn't like it, he should at least pretend to be amazed. That way she'll still be happy. But if he's walking around saying, "Why did you put this here?" Men, trust me, no woman likes that. A man can earn a lot of money, be a wonderful person, not drink, not smoke, be polite, kind, and affectionate. But just this one thing, walking around nitpicking about where things are placed, is enough for a woman to just want to run away. She'll run, cover her eyes, ears, and nose, and just escape from the family life. Do you agree, women?
Yes.
So men, it's better to just stay out of this. Don't get involved in where things are placed. It's not your business. It's the woman's job. Even if it's technically your thing, like if it's on your desk and the woman has touched it. Usually women don't mess with a man's workspace. But over time, she'll still go there. Once she's tidied up everything else, she'll look around and find something else to clean, even your desk. And once she's touched your territory, there's nothing you can do about it. She'll still move things around, no matter how many times you adjust them. She'll place things where she wants them, not where it's convenient for you to work. You'll have to get used to the fact that your glass won't be sitting right in front of you. It might end up under the table, for example. She might like it that way. She probably won't do that, but she'll keep putting it where she thinks it belongs. And there's nothing you can do about it because a woman's territorial egoism is much stronger than a man's. For example, male dogs mark their territory. We're not dogs, we're humans. And in our case, it's women who mark the territory. That's why two women can't live together in one apartment. Because both of them will mark the territory. They've set everything up. It's their life. That's it. If the other one moves something, it feels like she's taken over. And then the woman starts freaking out. The leaders of the Communist Party didn't know the nature of women, so they built apartments where 5 families shared one kitchen, and there was constant warfare in that kitchen between the women. They were marking territory, try to make a move there, and you'd have spoons flying and everything else. So it's better for a man not to get involved in this issue of where things are placed. It can be destructive to his personal life. A good wife may leave just because of this one issue. Not because she's dumb or over some trivial thing. She just can't stand living with a man who gets into this question of where things go. How many women here have left a husband for this reason? Just couldn't take it anymore. See? Quite a few women. Next question.
Are there any responsibilities for a man and a woman living in a civil union?
What responsibilities are there in a civil union? It's not even a marriage. It's just called civil. No responsibilities. You can do whatever you want. That's why it's important for both men and women to get legally married if there are no issues with the state. Unfortunately, the state sometimes creates laws that make it hard for people to get married for various reasons. Sometimes you get married and end up losing property and a lot of money, among other things. If there are no external reasons holding you back, you should get married. If you don't get married because you chose not to, that's your problem, because you've already started a family and you'll have responsibilities either way. Because duties are created by God, not by humans. What does it mean that God creates them? How is what God creates different from what humans create? For example, God created an apple. It will always be eco-friendly. It will be healthy, delicious, and even the worms will enjoy it. If a person created an apple, even the worms wouldn't eat it. They'd turn away. The apple would be beautiful on the outside, but inedible. Everything a person creates is far inferior to what God creates. And God created duties. He considers everything, the person's design, their nature, their fate, and many other factors that we can't even imagine. But when a person makes up duties and decides who should do what, it always goes wrong. I think it's easy to understand. It always turns out poorly. So, no matter what you call your marriage, the duties are always created by God, and you have to fulfill them. The first duty in a family is loyalty. That's number one. The second is respect, because without loyalty, everything falls apart in the family completely. Without respect, there's no happiness in life. Loyalty and respect are the two main duties. Without them, you can't have a normal life, and so on. There are many other duties, and we'll talk about those today. Duties come from human nature. These first two duties, loyalty and respect, come from the nature of love itself. There's a third duty that many people don't understand most of the time. Three duties. First, loyalty. Second, respect. And third, service to God. Not many people realize that these are duties for people living in a family. If they don't fulfill them, things will fall apart in the family, but it won't happen as quickly. But if there's no loyalty, everything falls apart immediately. If there's no respect, it falls apart slowly. If there's no service to God, it falls apart later. But eventually everything falls apart. The other duties stem from human nature. We'll discuss this in more detail throughout this lecture series. All right, let me begin. My lecture will be a solid, continuous talk lasting about an hour and a half. Today we're going to talk about the nature of men and women. We'll discuss how their characters are structured and what duties arise from these characters. We'll talk about what distinguishes a man's character from a woman's. We'll look at things that are easy for women but difficult for men, and vice versa. What's easy for men but challenging for women. We'll discuss how to behave with men and women according to their nature or character. We'll talk more about the nature of men and women later. But for now, let's start by looking at the basic traits of their characters. We'll first talk about things that are obvious to everyone, and then we'll address things that most people don't quite understand. First, the obvious stuff. The first obvious point. In most cases, a woman's character is much more sensitive and delicate than a man's. In most cases, a man's character has more willpower than a woman's. A woman's character tends to be more persistent, while a man's is more about willpower. So what's the difference between persistence and willpower? Willpower is the ability to achieve what you want to achieve in life on your own, while persistence is when someone wants others to make things happen for them. Women don't like to achieve things on their own. They prefer to put their desires into other people. Do this, do that. A man, on the other hand, generally doesn't like to impose his desires on other people. He usually tries to do everything on his own. This is where the difference between men and women lies. Women love beauty. They love beauty in themselves and in others. They really value beauty and have a deep understanding of it. Each woman, of course, has her own unique idea of what beauty is. And she doesn't like it when someone tries to change her perspective on that. Beauty is a zone of strong egoism for a woman. So if you tell a woman, you should wear this, it would look better on you, she'll be very upset. What are you doing? Why are you sticking your nose in this? It's none of your business what I wear or how I look. This is a zone of strong egoism for her. For men, the zone of strong egoism is their opinion. That's why it's much harder for men to listen to lectures than for women. Statistically, women attend lectures 3 to 4 times more often than men. Of course, it's a problem for men because everyone needs to receive knowledge, but when a man listens to someone, if he has already started listening, it gives better results than when a woman starts listening. Because there are two types of intelligence. There is intelligence that works through inspiration. This is a woman's type of intelligence. And there is intelligence that works through experience. This is a man's intelligence. A person may have or may not have inspiration. Women are inspired by lectures. When they get inspired, they want to do something further. Women's volitional functions depend on inspiration. When a woman is inspired, she wants to do things. When not inspired, she doesn't want to do anything. A man's intelligence depends on knowledge. If a man trusts his elder and starts listening to lectures to learn better, then he doesn't depend on inspiration. He will do what needs to be done, even if he doesn't want to do it. This is how a woman differs from a man. That means a woman most often forces herself to work on herself when she has inspiration. And she does everything related to love even when she doesn't want to. If she loves someone or something, she will do it even when she doesn't want to. But a man acts not because he loves. Although this is also possible, love also motivates men to act. A man acts mainly because he knows that this is what needs to be done. He acts based on knowledge. A woman acts because of inspiration. If she likes something, she wants it, she is inspired, then she acts. Let's say a woman knows that after a flight, one should go into cold water, then into a sauna, then into cold water again. Let's say a woman knows this. Not everyone knows that this is what should be done. Imagine getting into cold water for a woman is terrifying, because a woman's nature is drawn to the sun, while a man's nature is drawn to water. For instance, getting into water is always difficult for a woman, but sunshine of any strength is good for her. Men also like sunshine, but not any kind. If the sun is very hot, it's harder for a man than for a woman. Women like even very hot sun. It's easier for women to endure it than for men. Even men don't like very cold water, but women dislike it even more. It's not even about very cold water, just water in general. Making herself get into the water is very difficult. I'm not talking about warm water. Warm water is already connected to the energy of the sun. So you see, there is a different nature. Women mostly love warmth. There are exceptions. Men mostly love coolness. Not cold, but coolness. That's the difference. That means female and male natures are different. Women are naturally very attentive to details. Men are naturally very attentive to the main things. For example, a woman sees details in everything she looks and sees details in all processes that are happening. Men mainly see the essence, the main things. A woman can lose sight of what's important. She gets lost in details and loses the main point. A man often loses details because he's too immersed in the main thing. And a woman always reminds him about the details. For example, for a husband, the goal might be to earn money, but he loses his health. These are the details. That means he works and gradually becomes weaker. A wife immediately sees that he has become weaker, that he is losing strength. A woman sees this right away. A man won't see this immediately. Even I, being a doctor, when I do something, I lose health, I don't see it right away, but my wife sees it immediately. Let me give you an example. Today I took a shower, and somehow a blood vessel in my nose burst, my nose started bleeding, although usually this doesn't happen to me and hasn't happened for a long time. I blew my nose, everything seemed fine. I said, well, okay, I'm going to the lecture. She said, take a tissue for your nose. I said, the bleeding has already stopped. And at that moment it started again, just as I said that. This is classic. It always turns out the way the wife says. Because women sense situations more subtly than men. And I put in the nasal pack, and then all issues were resolved. In other words, one needs to understand this nature. For instance, there's knowledge that a woman sees details, a man sees the main thing. How can this be used? For example, if a man hears his wife telling him something, she gives him advice. He'd better do this particular thing. It's best to do it, even if it doesn't seem very significant to him. Because if you don't do it, you'll likely run into some problem that you're not taking into account, and the wife might not even be considering it consciously, but she has intuition. This is another difference between men and women. Women are mostly very intuitive. That means a woman's intelligence is based on purity. Purity is connected with intuition. A woman loves cleanliness. She always tidies up. There's a reason for this. She feels stronger when everything is clean. And she has a stronger position then. She can live in uncleanliness, but she will be less strong. She won't feel confident, strong, good, and won't live harmoniously if there's no cleanliness. If everything is clean, a woman lives very harmoniously. She feels confident. Speaking about the nature of intelligence, intelligence means prudence, ability to overcome difficulties, to be confident in something, to have one's own opinion. This is how intelligence works. A woman's intelligence is based on purity. There is inner and outer purity. For example, chastity is also an inner purity. If a woman, let's say, violates chastity, she loses her intelligence. If a man violates chastity, he can still maintain his intelligence to some degree, although he also loses it quite quickly. It's bad for everyone when purity of intelligence is lost, but for a woman, it's catastrophic. Because a woman doesn't have as much power of intelligence, her life is based on purity of intelligence. A man naturally has strong intelligence. Strong intelligence means determination, purposefulness, firmness in achieving goals, courage. These are all qualities of intelligence indicating its strength. Purity of intelligence is intuition, the ability to distinguish good from bad, to understand where good is and where bad is, the ability to feel God's will, the ability to anticipate events, understand how things will be, feel what will be, to foresee. All this is based on purity of intelligence. These are natural feminine qualities. Foresight, sensing what's good and what's bad, where there's dirt and where there's purity. Because everyone has different opinions about this, but a woman usually has the right one. What is good and what is bad, for example? Who in the family will first sense which food is harmful and which is beneficial? Who's first? The woman is first. A man understands this less. Therefore, women are naturally more inclined to heal, especially their loved ones. They are very shy by nature. Skills manifest differently in women and men. For example, a man considers himself an expert even if he doesn't understand the subject very well yet. He understands a little bit and immediately jumps in, saying that he knows. It works differently with a woman. A woman will say, I know, if she has checked it 1,000 times and she is 200% sure that this is exactly how it works. And then she says that she knows, and she won't change her mind on this matter. But at the same time, she can still yield to the person who wants to do it differently, because a woman by her nature is not pushy when it comes to knowledge. She can be pushy in matters of her love and care, but not in matters of knowledge. That means that she knows something but won't impose it. This can harm a person, but a man, if he knows something, his nature makes him impose his knowledge, because his knowledge is connected with egoism. For a woman, love is connected with egoism. If she loves someone, she will take care of that person, bother them, pester them. But this person won't be able to get rid of her, so she will live this person's life. This is another feature of a female character. A woman lives the lives of other people, not her own life. If she loves someone, she will suffer from their life, not from her own life. Will a man suffer from the life of a loved one? To some extent, maybe, but not as much. For example, a man is not pushy in his care. He takes care, but not intrusively. He can do something. If you don't like it, he might not do it. But a woman will do it whether you like it or not. She will still do it. Because she thinks that's how it should be. If she loves, she will still do everything her way. This is called obsessive care. All small children know how they were swaddled. It's an obsessive idea that swaddling is necessary. Women's nature is to impose their care. It is connected with egoism. A man's care has a non-intrusive nature. But a man's opinion is connected with egoism. Therefore, a man's nature is to impose his opinion. All married women know what this is like. A man forces his opinion, gets on your nerves. And she says, how much longer can this go on? And a woman's nature is to impose her care. Put on a sweater, she says. I don't even resist. I immediately put on a sweater for the lecture. Maybe it will be a bit cool here. I prefer when it's warm. I just put on the sweater right away. I know that if I don't put it on, it will only get worse. And how will it get worse? Do you know, men, why you shouldn't argue with a woman's care? Because if something goes wrong in life, the woman's mood gets spoiled. And this is a very big problem in the family. Mood is energy that creates comfort or destroys comfort. What do you think? Whose mood influences more the atmosphere in the family, male or female mood? Female, because a woman is woven from the energy of love. And love is the foundation of family life. Everyone loves a woman. Love is directed towards a woman. If a woman doesn't look good, is this a problem at home? The home is cozy, but the woman doesn't look good. Is this a problem for home comfort, for everyone in general? Cozy home means dogs, cats, children, parents, the whole family. The woman doesn't look good. Is this a problem for the family? It's a problem. And if a man doesn't look good? No problem at all. Nobody even pays attention, as long as he brings money. In family life, everyone pays attention to the woman. She is the center of attraction. The woman, not the man. Even when the husband's relatives come, the woman is the center of attraction. If she doesn't welcome them, they won't be happy in this house. But if the husband's relatives come, it's good if the husband welcomes them. But even if he doesn't do it, it's not a big deal if the wife welcomes them. But if the husband welcomes everyone and the wife doesn't, it's always problematic. If you come and the wife doesn't welcome you in this house, it means you're not wanted there. And those whom the husband welcomes but the wife doesn't, they are not wanted there. This person is a stranger there. A woman should show love to everyone who comes to visit. Women should do this. This means that the person is welcome. If a man welcomes guests, maybe they're ready to accept you but not very happy about it. But if a woman welcomes, it means they're definitely happy to see you. A woman personifies emotions and love in the family. Therefore, if a woman's mood is affected, everyone will feel bad. The husband, the children, and the wife who is in a bad mood, everybody will suffer. And the dogs, cats, and even cockroaches in this house, even though they don't know why it happened, they will also feel bad if the woman's mood is spoiled. The characters of women and men are very different from each other. This must be acknowledged. If people understand this, relationships improve significantly. A woman's character has such a nature that if her mood is spoiled, usually it takes a very long time for a woman to recover. There are exceptions, though. It takes a woman several days for her mood to improve, especially when it concerns relationships. And a woman's mood can be spoiled by such things that a man, let's say, doesn't consider as important. For example, a woman says, "Put on a sweater." Just as my wife advised me to put on a sweater for the lecture, I know that if I don't put it on, it will be worse. Why? Because her mood will be spoiled for several days afterward. As a result, there will be no love, there will be suffering. I came to the festival, and now because of this sweater, the whole festival may be ruined, because if I'm not in a good mood, no one will be in a good mood. I won't be in a good mood if my wife is not in a good mood. Therefore, since I possess knowledge, I immediately put on a sweater for the lecture. I don't even argue. Although I know that I will give the lecture without wearing this sweater anyway. I do this because I know for sure that if I don't put it on, my wife's mood will be spoiled. This will last for a long time, and everything around me will fall apart. A lot depends on a woman's mood. I repeat again, family relationships depend on a woman's mood. For example, relationships with children. If a woman is in a good mood, children are calm. If a woman is in a bad mood, everyone is going crazy. You know those who have small children, what it means when children are going crazy? It means everything is out of control, they're running around, going mad. All this is invisibly connected to the woman's mood. If a woman is calm and in a good mood, everyone around feels calm too. If she's in a bad mood, everything falls apart. And a woman's mood gets very bad if she's not allowed to do what she needs to do. And why does she need to do it? Because a woman worries very much about relatives if something is wrong with them. A man doesn't worry like that. A woman does worry a lot. It's her nature. She worries a lot. My wife knows, for example, that I have a slight cold, and therefore I must wear a sweater. She knows I don't feel like I have a cold. That's how a man is built. He doesn't feel the illness. The wife feels it. And therefore I must submit to her will. Any man should submit to a woman's will when it concerns such small things, these matters of care. Otherwise everything in the family will fall apart. Often families break up simply because a man underestimates the importance of this. If a wife says, for example, eat warmed food, and the man says, it's okay, I'll eat it cold. It's really okay for him. He doesn't care whether it's cold or hot. But the wife noticed that when her husband eats cold food, he constantly has diarrhea. He didn't notice it because a man only starts paying attention to his health on his way to intensive care. When he's being taken to intensive care, he realizes that something has happened to his health. That's how his psyche works, otherwise who would fight in wars? In war, a man can be wounded and not even notice it. His psyche is so strongly protected from pain and from feeling sick. A woman's psyche is very strongly connected with pain and illnesses. Nature created her this way. Imagine if a woman couldn't feel her own pain and the pain of others. How would humanity have survived at all? A nursing baby can't say anything at all, but a woman can feel what's happening with them. She knows exactly what to do because her psyche is very sensitive to others' will, including her own. That's why there are 3 stages of illness in a woman. First stage, she's sick. Second, she's very sick. Third, she's a widow. That means he died because she wore him out since she was sick, and she's still sick. That's why women live longer than men, because they are very sensitive to their health. Women live longer because they seek treatment more often. If something is slightly wrong, she immediately starts treating herself. A man only seeks treatment when he's in intensive care. That's why it's very important for a man to listen to his wife regarding health. Because women naturally sense the health of their loved ones. All women are natural doctors. All women are natural cooks. My wife knows exactly how much of each type of food I need. She knows down to the milligram how much and what kind of food I need to maintain good health. Not how much I want to eat, but how much I need. I know this myself. As a doctor, I also know the amount I should eat to have good health, but if I eat a bit more, my health will be poor. My wife gives me exactly the amount of food I need for my health. She won't give more or less. This is such a natural sensitivity, and she knows exactly which products and what combinations are good for my health. She knows this. This is the qualification of female nature. She can prepare medicine for her loved ones. She can also mix foods correctly. Moreover, women have such a subtle energy power that gives health to relatives. I'll give you one example now that shocked me. In general, people's sleep always suffers due to travel. Since I constantly fly to different cities, my sleep is very sensitive, and I, of course, have my methods. Methods that help improve sleep. I have many methods, life hacks, many techniques, but sometimes even they don't help. And once I couldn't fall asleep, I tried this and that until my wife intervened. How do you think she made me sleep? I fell asleep right away. What did she do? You'll never guess. She just warmed up water in a glass. The water was warm, not hot, but warm. Not like tea that burns, just warm water. And she blessed it for sleep. She simply blessed the water for me to fall asleep and gave it to me to drink. It knocked me out immediately. I didn't even have time to say whether I liked it or not. It's amazing, only in the morning did I understand how it happened. That's how it was. Of course, I had been suffering before that and couldn't fall asleep for a couple of hours. Just a glass of warm water from my wife was able to solve the issue. That's cool. That's how power works, and I appreciated it then. That's how this feminine energy changes people's lives. Who do you think is stronger, a man or a woman? Neither woman nor man. They have equal strength. It's just that male power goes into action while female power goes into desire. Well, for example, what influences getting married? Does a man or a woman have more influence on getting married? Who influences? Both influence equally. A man pursues, while a woman influences. That means she doesn't pursue anyone. She doesn't chase after anyone. If she starts chasing, it will only get worse. She just influences. If she doesn't influence, that's also bad. She should put on makeup, show that she's beautiful, and smile. She should influence. If a woman influences, she gets married, but sometimes a woman doesn't get married because she doesn't influence. For example, a woman is completely worn out. She works all day long, and she has no energy left to influence. Women should know their power. A woman consists of energy, therefore she should always have enough energy to influence everything around her. And what should she influence? The health of relatives, the husband's ability to earn money, and even the possibility to go to the festival in Turkey. She needs to influence that too. If you don't influence, nothing will happen. It means you need to make an effort. And for a woman, this effort is connected with desires. If a woman wants something, desires something, it means all of this will happen in life. If she doesn't desire it, it won't happen. That means energy works through energy. It's such an invisible force of desire. Someone likes a woman. Someone falls in love with her. Why did they fall in love? Because some energy influences. Is a woman to blame when someone falls in love with her or not? Some women say, "It's not my fault that someone fell in love with me." Is she to blame or not? She is. That means she influences. She makes someone fall in love. Such power comes from her. She influences. Is a man to blame for getting married? Of course he's to blame. He pursued it, wanted it. He dated a woman, made an effort. He's also to blame. Why is he also to blame? Well, everyone is to blame in their own way. A woman influences. A man pursues. This is the difference in nature. There is male nature and there is female nature. And this needs to be understood. If a person doesn't understand their nature, they will suffer, maybe even for their whole life. For example, a woman must understand that she needs to have enough energy to get married. If a woman doesn't make efforts to get married, she will remain alone. And efforts mean she needs to think about it, want to get married. She needs to wear makeup, smile. She needs to show that everything is good in her life. She has to attract people with her appearance, meaning a woman needs to look attractive. And if a woman doesn't do this, she might remain alone. She might not have a family, children, and so on. This is a serious matter. And why doesn't she do this? Because she has no strength. And why doesn't she have strength? Because a woman is designed so that if she spends her energy somewhere, there will be no energy left for other areas of life. A man's energy can go in several directions at once, but women are not designed this way, because a woman acts through intention. A man acts through actions, while a woman acts through intention. Let's say a woman gets promoted, and a man gets promoted. Do you know how it happens? A woman gets promoted because people like her, and a man gets promoted because he achieved it. Do you feel the difference? To be liked or to achieve? Which is easier? To be liked. That's why it's easier for a woman to get promoted, but it's harder for her to maintain that position because the more energy goes into work, the less remains for life. That's why women intuitively feel that they shouldn't strive for too high positions in their work or take on too many responsibilities because their whole life falls apart afterward, collapsing like a house of cards. Because life is sustained by feminine energy. A man achieves through his own efforts. Sometimes he achieves it by being liked, but this is rare. Mostly a man achieves things in life through his efforts, while a woman does it through her influence, through being liked. That's why it's easier for a woman to earn money, you know? It's easier for a woman to earn money because she does it through being liked. A man cannot rely on being liked by people. To earn money, he needs to achieve, work hard. That means overcoming difficulties. This is much harder. It's harder for a woman to maintain financial results because everything comes easily to her, but she doesn't have the ability to maintain stability and work for long. She gets tired from it. She needs to change work, rest from work. A woman's nature is not persistent when it concerns work. In personal life, a woman has a more stable nature. In personal life, who has a more stable nature, a woman or a man? A woman remains more stable in a relationship with one person. She gets used to someone and it's hard to break away. This is one of the reasons why it's very difficult for a woman to get married. Because first she needs to get used to a person. If she's left alone, she needs to wean herself off him. Until she does it, a new man won't be attracted because her energy goes to the previous one. Although she's not living with him anymore, her energy is directed to the person she lived with even after their separation, and it lasts for several years, though she doesn't want it. And that's why she can't find a new person, because her energy is going in the wrong direction. She needs to attract someone, but no one is attracted because she's still attached to the previous man. For a man, it happens immediately. He just cuts off the relationship if he leaves someone. His energy doesn't go there anymore. So there's a big difference. That's why God made it so that it's easier for women to maintain a family, because they have more attachment. She has more influence, is more connected with close people than men. And it's harder for her to detach herself later. That's why faithfulness is feminine energy. A woman is the keeper of the family. She doesn't let it be destroyed. But if the woman herself doesn't preserve the family, then what can be said about the man? A man naturally will be inclined to destroy the family. He is prone to this. For this reason, God allows polygamy but does not allow to have many husbands. Although it does happen, it happens that one woman has several husbands at once. Such an option exists. But this is not allowed by God, because a woman cannot be faithful to two men at once. She cannot be faithful to two men at once. A man, in theory, can be faithful to two women at once if it's allowed by God. This is a complex topic. We are talking now about God's permission. In Muslim culture, this exists. In the past, it also existed in the Vedic culture, but it doesn't anymore. When there are several wives, it can be more or less normal if it's allowed by God. It cannot be completely normal, just more or less normal. If a woman has two husbands, two men, it can never be normal, never. Why such a difference? Because faithfulness is feminine energy, not masculine. Several women can be faithful to one man, but one woman cannot be faithful to two men simultaneously. It's not faithfulness anymore, it's called cheating, it's debauchery. Therefore, faithfulness is feminine energy. Remember this. It depends primarily on the woman. If a woman is unfaithful in the family, where does unfaithfulness in the family begin? In thoughts. If a woman thinks, I could find someone better, he isn't good enough, maybe she won't destroy the family herself, but the husband will leave because she paved the way. She started doubting this family, the foundations of this family. Then the man acts because a woman is not the acting force, she is the influencing force. A woman thought that she could find a better man. She thinks about this constantly. As a result, she destroys the stability of the family, and then the man acts. That's why in the family the husband is usually blamed for everything because he acts. He thought no one knew he's guilty. God protects women this way. That's why they are the better half of humanity, because they act invisibly. Men always end up looking like fools because they act. Women don't act, they only influence. We are studying the law. Faithfulness is feminine energy. If a woman is faithful to her husband, it's not 100% sure that the family will stay together. Sometimes a woman is faithful, but the husband is foolish and leaves his faithful wife. This is stupid. This happens too. This is how fate works. Today we are studying the nature of men and women. A woman is very stable in personal life. A man is stable at work. A woman is unstable at work. She might like something today, but tomorrow she doesn't like it anymore. If she doesn't like something at her work, she tries to leave from there. Women's work is based on pleasure, on enjoyment. Men's work is connected with purpose. A man might not be very happy with what he's doing, but he has his goal there, and he will achieve it. When he achieves his goal in some activity, he wants another activity that's connected with his goal. Suppose men earn well, have a stable job, good business, but they have a different goal already. Can they leave this work? A man can quit his job even when it gives a lot of money. Can you imagine? Lots of money, and it's not difficult to earn there. He can quit this job for his new goal. A woman always quits her job under the influence of her desire if she's tired of working there, even if it brings money and everything is great. If she doesn't like it, she won't work there. Or rather, she will, but not for long. If she doesn't like it, it gradually suffocates her. She goes through 4 stages. First stage is pleasant, she likes it. Second stage, she doesn't like it. Third stage, she's getting tired, fed up, exhausted. Fourth stage, she's leaving. At the leaving stage, she won't stay there for long. She's already looking for where to go, to escape. But in family life, a woman has a stable nature. She becomes attached to a person, gets used to him. Even if it's hard with him, she still endures. Even if it's difficult to endure, she does it. A man has an unstable nature in personal life. He always has a tendency to run away. This tendency is created by nature to have more children. How many children can a woman conceive? Maximum 10, right? That's already a heroic mother. 10 children is a rare case. Now in Muslim families, of course, this sometimes happens, but in the West, 10 children is just unthinkable. How is it even possible at all? Mostly 1 or 2, right, ladies? How many children can a man conceive? He can easily conceive up to 10,000 without any problem, no issues at all. How long is a woman's productive age? From 16 to 45, if everything is good. How long is a man's productive age?
Until 80.
Some even conceive at 75. That's the difference. And since there's such a difference, that's why God gave men instability in their family life. It's not a good thing. It's always a problem. But it exists. You need to know that. A man's nature in his personal life is unstable. He always looks at younger women. Women don't look at young men. They do have a tendency to look at others, at someone else. Everyone has this tendency, but women have a very strong attachment to their loved ones. Often a woman doesn't leave her husband because she's attached to him, not because he's good, not because she needs him, not because she's happy with him, but because she's simply attached to him. She can't leave him. Often women don't leave. A man can also be attached to his wife and children. But that attachment is much more easily broken by another woman. Can a woman's attachment to her husband be broken by another man? Yes, but it doesn't happen quickly. If a woman falls in love with another man, it happens, but her attachment will gradually weaken over time. If a man falls in love with another woman, his attachment to his loved ones weakens much faster, and he can completely forget about his children. Because a man mostly loves his children through his wife's eyes for about 80%. Only 20% is his own, because the woman is usually the one who takes care of the children. And the man understands what the children need through the woman's care and lives their life. But when a man stops loving his wife and loves another woman, he no longer sees his children through her. He's left with only 20% of love he has for the children, or maybe none at all, because sometimes a man has his own love for his children. Sometimes a man loves his children mostly through his wife's eyes. And that's a big problem for modern society. People don't realize that when they break up a family, it's mostly the children who suffer. Nowadays, people destroy families very easily. A woman can get used to another husband, but for children to accept another man as their father is much, much harder. Because they're already used to him. Imagine thinking of someone as your father. How can you start thinking of someone else as your father? Even if you do start thinking of him as your father, you'll still remember the old one. It's a very difficult situation to change in life. So you're creating a situation for your child where it's very hard to change the paradigm of fatherhood. It's really hard. It's even worse when the mother leaves. It's not easy for children to accept a new mother. That's why it's always so important to keep family together for the sake of children. Our feelings should come second. The children's feelings should come first. But people are usually selfish. They mostly prioritize their own feelings when breaking up a marriage. That's not right. We're studying the nature of men and women. Women by nature are shy, men are brazen. There are shy men, but no one likes them. They're often mocked by everyone. They are mocked. There are brazen women, but no one likes them. Everyone likes shy women and brave men. Brave men, men who move forward, aren't shy, solve problems. Women may feel shy about solving problems. They have a shy nature. A man should be bold. Can this be switched places? It can, but this is always related to weakness. When a woman weakens, she becomes rude. Normally, women are very delicate. But when a woman is weak, she might start being rude, even in family life. For example, if a woman behaves rudely, what conclusion should a man draw? His wife is tired. She doesn't have the strength. Can a woman be rude? Can she behave rudely? Can she call names, even hit? Can a woman hit directly? Can she?
Yes, she can.
Why does she do it? She's tired. A woman becomes rude because of fatigue. And what about a man? Is he rude because he's tired? No, because of principles. A man gets very upset if principles that are important to him are not followed. He may even hit because of it. He gets really out of balance because of principles. A woman gets out of balance because of fatigue. She's tired, she starts to argue, and might even start fighting. And a man should make the conclusion, if his wife is arguing, it means she's tired, then she should rest. And a woman should make the conclusion that if her man is arguing, behaving rudely, it means she's doing something wrong. She's breaking some principles, the rules of living together. She should remove those violations so the man doesn't get out of balance. Is it natural for a woman to behave rudely? No. For a man? Yes. Is it natural for a woman to be emotional? Yes. For a man? No. When a woman acts emotionally, she's tired. Maybe just a little. She's naturally emotional. Maybe she's just a little tired, and that's why she's emotional. But if she's really tired, she'll act rudely. A man acts rudely when he's a little tired. But if he's really tired, he'll start to act emotional. He might cry, start whining. Is whining natural for a man? No. Now here's the question, what if a man is always whining? That means he has a weak character. It's really important to understand this. A weak character is chronic tiredness. Chronic tiredness can affect both women and men. For women, chronic tiredness leads to them becoming rude. They don't want to deal with household chores. For a woman, taking care of the home is very resource demanding. She spends a lot of energy on cleanliness, on making sure everything is good in the family, on maintaining relationships. It takes a huge amount of energy, a tremendous amount. For a man, maintaining cleanliness and relationships takes very little energy. It's less important to him. His energy goes into personal growth and work. Now, as the questions start coming in, men mostly ask about self-realization, how to achieve goals in business. Women mostly ask about personal life, health, themselves, and relationships. Where the focus goes, that's what the person talks about. When a woman's energy is really low, she often stops doing household chores, but if a man's energy is low, he usually stops working. A woman emotionally rests at work. So, when a woman is low on energy, she doesn't stop working altogether. She just stops working where it's hard for her, but she runs away from home and looks for work where it's easier for her. She works where she likes. She enjoys being there, and even if she has very little energy, she will still work where she feels comfortable, where she likes it, but she won't do household chores. If a woman runs out of energy, she won't mop the floors, won't wash the dishes, won't do the laundry, because it's very demanding for her, but she needs to wash the dishes. For example, my wife has no strength left. She says, "Please wash the dishes." What does this mean? I'll explain now what this means. That means that my wife doesn't care how clean it will be right now. The main thing is that dishes aren't lying around and getting on her nerves. She'll wash them again anyway when she needs to use them. She'll rinse them after me. But it's important for her that at least someone did something with them. Not that I can wash them the way she wants, or let's say she says mop the floors. This means she doesn't have the energy to clean the floors the way she needs to. This means she needs it done at least somehow, because anyway, when she has energy, she'll have to clean everything again. Isn't that right, ladies? If a woman asks a man for help, it means she can't do it herself the way she wants to do it. She doesn't have energy for this, so when a woman loses energy, she leaves the house and goes to work. It happens because she lacks subtle energy, not physical strength, but subtle energy. And when a man lacks subtle energy, he stays at home and does all the housework. Because he doesn't care how clean it will be, it's easier for him to do it, because there's no responsibility involved. A woman's responsibility goes into household chores, while she does work simply because she likes it. Does a woman feel responsible for work or not? She feels shame there. She's ashamed to do things incorrectly, because a woman is conscientious by nature. Is a man conscientious by nature? A man is shameless by nature, shameless. A woman is conscientious by nature. That's why she works well, because she's ashamed to work poorly, while a man works well to achieve results, to be respected. So for a man to work well, he needs to work very hard. That's why a man stops working when he has no energy. Does he need to work hard at home? He does everything sloppily, does it the way he likes. A woman does things at home properly because it's her area of responsibility. God made her this way. For a man, home is not an area of responsibility. It's an area of pleasure. He can cook there for pleasure if he likes it, clean if he likes it. And look what happens. Men and women change roles when they live incorrectly, when their lifestyle is wrong. When people run out of subtle energy, the woman goes to work and finds pleasure there, spending her time, while the man stays at home and also enjoys his time. Because for him, cooking and cleaning can be a hobby, while for a woman, work can be a hobby. For a man, work is his area of growth, whereas for a woman, her personal life is her area of growth. As a result, people immerse themselves in work, essentially switching roles in every aspect. For example, a woman starts behaving harshly due to emotional exhaustion, while a man becomes overly sensitive, constantly complaining due to emotional exhaustion. A man stays at home due to emotional exhaustion, while a woman spends her time at work constantly, doing nothing at home due to emotional exhaustion. Therefore, the weaker people's subtle energy is, the more they switch roles. A woman becomes rude, emancipated, independent, behaving harshly, and always spends her time at work. A man becomes soft, gentle, caring, stays at home, doesn't work. All this happens because people are emotionally exhausted. They have little subtle energy. Can a strong man become shy? If he has little energy. If he has a lot of energy, will he be shy? A man is strong, bold, he moves forward. When a woman is strong, what does she become? Shy. She knows she'll get what's hers anyway. Why should she push herself forward? It's very important to know these things. Many people say, I already know all this. Good if you know all this. Because some people say, but it can be the opposite. It's normal for a woman to work a lot and do nothing at home. This means that you lack knowledge. It's not normal for a woman to work a lot. Even if she likes to work a lot, it's still not normal for her. Because she doesn't feel deep satisfaction from this process. She might like it. You see, there's a difference between liking something and feeling deep, strong, inner satisfaction. For example, a woman experiences deep satisfaction from cleanliness around her, but she might not like constant cleaning. It might annoy her. But if there's no cleanliness, she has no deep satisfaction. A man might not like that he's constantly working hard. Who would like that? But he gets deep satisfaction from achieving results in his work. Do you understand how satisfaction differs from just liking something? So, when a woman works a lot, she won't get satisfaction if there's chaos in her personal life and at home. No one else can do household chores properly. A man won't do everything as needed. Even if he spends a lot of time there, he still won't do it the way she needs. Therefore, people don't get deep satisfaction when they switch roles. A man won't be deeply satisfied by staying at home. He will still dream about being developed, being a strong person. A woman will still dream about being at home with children, with her loved ones, having everything nice at home. She will dream about this even if she works a lot. Therefore, people say, it's normal that women work a lot and men stay at home. This happens too. I agree that this happens. But will there be deep satisfaction from this or not? That's the question, and each person should ask themselves this question. So if this happens, and they switch roles, let's say a woman has such character that she takes upon herself all volitional functions in the family. She makes everyone perform asceticism practice and makes them work. Let's say she works first and foremost, setting an example. Will there be satisfaction in such a family? Or when a man constantly takes care of children, doesn't want to work? Will there be satisfaction in such a family? When a woman leads in everything and the man follows her, will there be satisfaction? Such situations happen. There are reasons for such situations. If no one takes the lead, then a woman will step forward to set an example, to pull the family out of the swamp. This can happen. A woman is the last indicator of danger. There's a final warning indicator, and then there's a crash. A woman is the final warning indicator. She starts doing what no one else does to set an example when everything around is falling apart. She starts swimming into freezing water. She starts doing morning exercises. She starts jogging first because she feels that if she doesn't do it, everything will fall apart. But this doesn't mean it's in her nature to force everyone into activity. On the contrary, a woman tends to be lazy. How is a woman's psyche structured? What does a woman strive for? A woman strives for relaxation because her psyche is tuned to love, harmony, tenderness, affection, happiness, relationships, love. Therefore, her psyche strives for relaxation. A man's psyche, on the contrary, strives for tension. Therefore, laziness is the main flaw of female nature. In men, tension often leads to bad habits. What are these bad habits? Bad and antisocial ones. These are smoking, alcohol, drugs. Mostly men tend to do that. Mostly, with rare exceptions, there are exceptions everywhere. But women have their shortcomings too. These are oversleeping, overeating, laziness, unwillingness to do anything, depression. These are women's shortcomings. What do you think? How did God make it? Whose shortcomings are reprehensible, whose are not? God protects women because a woman is closer to children, closer to everyone in general. Therefore, God protects women. He makes them better than men. Women have natural shortcomings, laziness, for example. For a woman, it's a shortcoming, but it's not strongly condemned. Well, so what if a woman is a bit lazy? If a man is lazy, it's reprehensible. A woman was lazy, stayed in bed, didn't get up on time, didn't do morning exercise. Is this reprehensible? No. This is a natural female shortcoming. If a man didn't do exercises, didn't go to work, is it reprehensible? Yes. A woman overate sweets. Is it reprehensible? Is it a shortcoming? Even women don't consider it a shortcoming. So a woman overeats sweets, she's overweight. Is this a shortcoming? I don't know, Dr. Torsunov. Women have flaws, but they don't even realize they are flaws. The psyche and nature protect women so strongly that if a woman is lazy, if she lies in bed all day long, many women don't consider it a shortcoming at all. They don't consider it a shortcoming at all. I'm a woman, I'm allowed to do that. All women's shortcomings are protected by nature so much that a woman often doesn't even know it's a shortcoming. All men's flaws are not protected by nature. Any small flaw is reprehensible. For example, if a man is lazy, it's reprehensible. If a man, let's say, starts smoking or drinking due to tension, these are considered vices altogether. If a woman, for example, is being capricious, gets offended, it's nothing serious, so what if a woman got offended? It's no big deal. If a man gets angry, it's a vice. Right? You see, God protects women. He made it so that all their shortcomings are considered normal, not a problem at all. Does this change anything in life for you, ladies? You must understand it yourself. God gave you sensitivity to your sins. Does a man have sensitivity to sins? No, they are dull about sins, they commit them and don't understand that they're committing sins. Does a woman have sensitivity to sin? Yes, women really understand when they commit sins, they feel it. And God protected women by allowing them to have shortcomings. These shortcomings aren't strongly condemned by society. Women themselves should watch over their shortcomings. If they don't do this, everything will fall apart in their lives, whether they're good or bad. A woman considers herself good, but if everything falls apart in her life, this is her problem because her self-preservation system isn't working. The female self-preservation system is called conscientiousness. If a woman doesn't understand that she's lying in bed too much, eating too many sweets, being too lazy, too unwilling to do anything for her health, then everything will fall apart in her life, including health and family. You understand? She must feel this herself because everyone else will say it's no big deal. This is how God arranged it. Therefore, if a woman doesn't feel her shortcomings herself, she is doomed to failure in life. A man is doomed to failure if he doesn't react when his shortcomings are pointed out to him. A man is not sensitive by nature, he will still go towards his goal, but he must react when he's told about his mistakes. He must feel feedback if people are trying to reach him, telling him not to do something. He must hear the words of other people. But if he doesn't listen, then he is doomed to failure. A man should always strive for relaxation, for relieving tension in life, while a woman should always strive to tone herself up because her body naturally tends towards relaxation. It doesn't need to be forced. A man's body naturally tends towards tension. It doesn't relax. If a man's body doesn't tend towards tension, it means he has experienced an adaptation failure. It means something has gone wrong in his life. For example, he has suffered greatly, got sick, experienced stress, and his body doesn't strive for tension. This is a problem for a man. If a woman's body doesn't strive for relaxation, this is also an adaptation failure, some kind of stress. Such a woman becomes unattractive, unwanted, because a woman's beauty is very strongly connected with the desire for comfort, coziness, relaxation, tenderness, affection. Therefore, it's better for a woman not to rush anywhere, meaning to walk slowly, do everything calmly. Does a woman get along with time or not? All people tend to not get along with time, but women are more prone to it. If a woman is late somewhere, is it reprehensible? No, but this doesn't mean she should be late. If a woman is always late, she ruins her life. If a man is late, is it reprehensible? Yes, it's reprehensible. But a man is less likely to be late because he is tense by nature. A woman is more likely to be late because she is relaxed by nature. All this needs to be known. If a man constantly rushes a woman saying, "Hurry up," this is violence against her nature, because a woman is relaxed by nature. You shouldn't try to make her do everything faster, it destroys the family. A man shouldn't be constantly reproached for being tense. This is his nature, he's always a bit tense. You need to try to help him relax somehow carefully. A woman should always try to relieve tension in a man. A man should always try to stimulate his wife to get out of a state of excessive relaxation. It's normal to help each other, but it's not normal to put pressure. If we don't understand each other's nature, the family falls apart. If a man doesn't understand that a woman is sensitive and talks to her rudely, he destroys the family. If a woman doesn't understand that a man reacts very strongly to disrespect of his opinion, she destroys her family. If we don't fulfill our obligations to each other, we destroy our family. Our obligations were created by God. He created the nature of men and women. We didn't create it. We cannot change it. Even if we can change something externally, our nature remains the same. If a woman changes gender, she still remains a woman by nature. Even in a male body, she will behave like a woman. If a man changes gender, he still remains a man by nature. He won't be able to behave like a woman because no one can change nature. It is given from birth for a person's entire life. Our nature remains the same. For a family to be harmonious, to live a harmonious family life, you need to know each other's nature. For example, a man doesn't know that he needs to talk very gently and tenderly with a woman, that he shouldn't argue with her about household matters. If she's taking care, don't bother her, let her care, it's her domain. A woman shouldn't argue with her husband about strategically important vital issues for the family. She can carefully, gently express her opinion, but shouldn't argue. A man should express his opinion gently and tenderly in household matters, but shouldn't argue. These human obligations, how to behave, are based on human nature. There is also the nature of love. Love is energy. It has its own nature. We'll talk about this later, not today. But if people don't follow the nature of love, they also destroy relationships. Because the initial nature of love is divine nature, you can only love sublime things. It's impossible to love someone's shortcomings. Therefore, we need to learn to see sublime things in each other. Otherwise, there will be no love in relationships. Love has a light nature, so you shouldn't over-dramatize family life. You need to try to take everything more simply, and then love will be preserved. Love has the nature of faithfulness. Some people think there's nothing wrong with cheating, justifying it by the fact that we live in a modern world. It's foolish to think so because this way you destroy love. Love will never change its nature. It can live within faithfulness, but it cannot live within infidelity. Whatever you say, nothing will change this fact. Water is wet by nature. You can't make it solid. If you want to pour it in a square shape on the table, you won't succeed. It will still maintain the shape of a sphere or droplets and spread out, because water is wet by nature. Similarly, love by nature strives for purity. It cannot live in filth. If there's infidelity, close people perceive it as filth. They cannot live in this filth. Those who have been cheated on feel that it's impossible to live in love anymore. Love has its own nature, and you need to know it. People often make up what love is. Love strives for elevation, sublimity. People often say, love is sex. Sex is not love. Sex means enjoying the energy of love. Love is something different. Love is when people strive for sublime things. If you constantly see your loved one without pants, love diminishes from this. Love elevates when you see them in divine clothing. If you see them near the altar, if you see them as a conscientious, pure, sublime person, then your love for this person increases. And if you see them vulgar, dirty, disgusting, love diminishes from this. Love decreases when people show bad character traits. Love increases when people show good, pure, sublime character traits. Therefore, it's very important to know the nature of love and where it moves. Love is a playful, light energy. The more people dramatize everything in life, the less love there is. The lighter they take things, the more love there is. When difficult events occur in life, we need to take them more lightly instead of taking them more seriously. Then love is preserved. And if you constantly dramatize everything, love collapses. And then you have only yourself to blame for how it turned out. Love is not our energy. We cannot preserve it. Love is divine energy. God gives love. God takes love away. If we don't live according to God's laws, there will be no love in the family. I said at the very beginning that faithfulness, respect, and service to God are the three postulates that make love live throughout life. Faithfulness means maintaining purity, no love. Respect is the ability to interact. If two people don't respect each other, don't respect each other's nature, then there's no interaction. People can't reach each other due to disrespect of each other's nature. And if people don't strive towards God, they won't preserve love, because love lives only in your pure perception of another person. If a person doesn't see purity, if a person doesn't serve God, they work all the time, they become befouled by their affairs, then love will fade away. God immediately gives a very pure perception of each other. He gives it right away, but it then deteriorates throughout life, and we must elevate it ourselves through spiritual life. There is no other way to elevate it. Is husband's work a sublime activity or not? No, it's just an activity. Wife cooking, is it a sublime activity? It's just an activity. Wife standing near the altar, is it a sublime activity? Will you consider her holy? You will. Husband reading a prayer, studying the scriptures, is it a sublime activity? Will you consider him holy? You will. If a person treats another person in a sublime way, love increases. If they treat them in a lowly manner, it decreases. Now there will be answers to questions about the lecture. Today's lecture is over. Tomorrow we'll also have an online session, and this topic will be continued. It will also cover these questions about men's duties. Now we've covered the nature of men and women. Tomorrow the lecture will be about the duties of men and women, based on their nature. Is this an interesting, necessary topic? Yes. Good. How to accept a husband as senior if he behaves unreasonably? A person cannot accept someone as senior if they are not senior. Why deceive yourself about anything at all? Why create an illusion? If someone is senior to you, accept them as your senior. If they are not senior, don't accept them as seniors. When we talk about relationships between men and women, we do not talk about accepting someone as a senior, but about relationships. For example, if relationships are like a game, for example, if your child is playing at being a boss, and let's say you're all involved, the child is the boss, how do you behave? Like a subordinate. The child says, "We'll build a house." You say, "Yes, what needs to be done?" "Mom, you'll carry the blocks. Dad, you drive the crane. I'm building the house." Everyone is busy with their task. Who's the boss? The child. Everyone obeys. The child is the chief builder. Everyone follows their orders. That's exactly how it is. Don't try to exaggerate. I'm telling you how it actually works. A woman should accept a man exactly in this way because this is his role. Meaning she just pretends that he's in charge. In the literal sense, she pretends that he's in charge. And this makes family life possible. Because if you don't pretend he's in charge, a man cannot exist. Because his nature doesn't manifest in any other environment. He needs to feel like he's in charge of the family. Let me give you a very simple example now of how it works. Let's say there's a rooster sitting on a fence. Let's say you're walking past a rooster. Whether you're a woman or a man, is he in charge for you or not? Is he in charge for you? No? No, but the rooster on the fence, when he sits there, he considers himself in charge of everyone. He looks around and doesn't care at all about who walks by. He's in charge there, do you understand? Just try to understand. This is nature. You can't get rid of it. For example, can a woman be unattractive? Yes, but only for someone. But a woman always considers herself beautiful. She thinks she's more beautiful. She doesn't care what others think. She considers herself beautiful just like that rooster on the fence. He's in charge. She's beautiful. That's how nature works. For example, with whom can a rooster build loving relationships? With those who also consider him in charge. If you don't consider the rooster in charge, he will live near you. He will sit on the fence, considering himself cool. You will live your life. He will live his. There won't be love between you. If you want to have a relationship of love with this rooster, you need to consider him in charge. Approach him saying, "Oh wow, how cool you look sitting there." He will build close, loving relationships with you. Similarly, if you want a woman to love you, you need to consider her beautiful. If you think a woman is beautiful, she will love you. If you don't think so, she won't. The same goes for men. You have to treat him as the leader. It's not that he is the leader, but still. Is a rooster the leader on the fence? He's just a little bird. But he puts on a big show because that's his nature. Nature is a huge thing. You can't ignore it. If someone ignores nature, they can suffer from it greatly. Strength doesn't always win. Often, nature wins. If you want to understand what I mean, study it. There's an animal called a marten. Ever heard of it? It's a small animal, about the size of a small dog. This animal can kill a deer. No one wants to mess with it, not even a bear. Even a tiger avoids this little animal because it's naturally fearless. It's incredibly brave. It's fearless. It will even attack a tiger and try to rip its throat out. and it often succeeds. Such a small animal, if it meets a person in the forest, it won't attack first. But if a person attacks it, well, let's say it's better to deal with a wolf. A wolf has some fear by nature, it can run away. A marten has no fear. It will attack you and try to tear your throat out, and it could do it to a person. If you start messing with it, that's the nature of this animal, just like a rooster on a fence. It has its own nature. It sees itself as the man, and you have to respect that. If in your marriage your husband doesn't earn much, doesn't have as much energy as you, but he's a man by nature, and if you disregard his opinion, your marriage will be destroyed. You need to respect his opinion no matter what. If you do, he'll become strong. By doing this, you'll strengthen your husband. If you ended up with a wife who isn't very beautiful, but you think she's beautiful, she'll become 10 times more beautiful. With age, strength and beauty fade. A man becomes weaker and a woman less beautiful. But if a man thinks his wife is beautiful, even as she gets older, she will always be beautiful to everyone and to him. If a woman thinks her husband is strong, he will always be strong to everyone and to her. This is what responsibilities are about. Do you understand the difference between reality and behavior? If a child plays like they're building a little house, and parents don't want to play along as helpers, there will be no love. Do you want to love your child? Be the helpers, because they want to be the boss. That's it. You'll have to stack the blocks or drive the truck. Whatever they say, you'll do. Likewise, if you want love with a man, you have to respect his opinion. And do this not because you respect it and think it's right, but because otherwise your family will fall apart. Just say, yes, my dear, show that you agree with his opinion. You may have a different opinion, but you need to agree with him. Likewise, with a woman, you need to act very gently, lovingly, no matter how she behaves. Sometimes a woman acts very capriciously. She may insult or humiliate, she may not have proper manners. But if a man still behaves kindly with her, he calms her down, changes her, and she becomes a very good person. A woman can only be changed through gentle, affectionate behavior. A man can only be changed through respect for his opinion. There are no other ways. That's why you're asking this question. If you want to perceive him as a respected person but he doesn't behave like one, that's just schizophrenia. It's impossible. Either you have to become dumb or it's some kind of strange game. But showing your husband that you respect him, that you respect his opinion, is something every woman should do, even if the man is an alcoholic. Even so, if he says something, you should listen to him. Then he will be inspired to change. He'll understand what he needs to do. What can inspire a man? Only respect for him. For example, Dovzhenko, a famous narcologist, do you know how he treated men? They came to his clinic, and he became friends with them. What kind of position did he befriend them from? He respected their opinion. They would sit down, say something, and someone would speak, and he would listen very attentively, following their advice. And the men were so inspired that they stopped drinking immediately, because most of the time a man drinks because no one listens to his opinion. For example, he's too dumb, or his wife is too dumb to listen to someone else's opinion. Something happened that people don't listen to the man's opinion. As a result, the man breaks down. It's the same for a woman. If she's not treated gently and kindly, she also breaks down. She loses herself. Next question.
Is a woman's pleasure from doing men's tasks bad? Should she change herself?
Straight to hell right away. Pleasure from doing men's tasks. Should she change herself? It's fine. What kind of men's task? For example, a woman likes going to work. Why is this a man's job? She likes it, she enjoys doing something, and she still does it in a feminine way. For example, she likes working at a factory. Well, she just enjoys it. It's not that she's doing a man's job. A man's job involves making willful efforts over oneself. Sometimes women even enjoy this. She's used to running, for example, but that doesn't mean she's doing it with willful efforts. She simply likes it. Some women like running, some like sitting in the ice-cold water. They just like it, and they do it. For example, my wife likes sitting in the ice-cold water. She'll do it because she enjoys it, she feels the results. She did it and feels great, now she's flying. She can do it because she enjoys it, not because she's forcing herself. She just enjoys it, and that's all. A woman will never become a man. She might seem to be doing everything like a man, but she does it in her own way. A woman always does everything based on pleasure. And that's the foundation of life. Does a man need pleasure in life or not? Everyone needs pleasure. But a woman is born for enjoyment. A man also wants to enjoy, but a woman is born for enjoyment. A man is born for victory. Therefore, you need to give a person what they were born for. A man needs to be given the opportunity to be strong, to have his opinion respected. A woman needs to be given the opportunity to enjoy life, and her desires for love, harmony, and beautiful relationships need to be respected. And a man's desire for achievements needs to be respected. His opinion, his place in society, his status, all of it should be highly valued by a woman. Whatever he has in life, she should value it deeply. If he's achieved even a little, she should really appreciate it. Not that he's achieved a lot. She says that's not enough, but a woman should deeply appreciate even small achievements. If a woman shows any small effort towards beauty, the man should really appreciate it. He should deeply appreciate how she cooked, how she did her makeup, what dress she put on. Everything related to her beauty and enjoyment should be highly valued as it contributes to his happiness in life. Everything about her should be appreciated. Everything a man achieves should be greatly appreciated. This is the foundation of love. What I just described is called respect. If you think you respect someone but don't value their needs, there's no love in that at all. For example, you respect your wife as an employee at work. Does she care about that? She needs you to respect her as a wife, as a beautiful, tender, and affectionate person. The same goes for respecting a man, for instance, as a good cook. Does he care about that? He needs you to respect his opinion because that's where love lies. Next question.
Why doesn't my husband fulfill his responsibilities and instead he plays on his phone?
It's really hurtful when my loved one doesn't fulfill their responsibilities to me. It's always very hurtful. And that's why it's impossible to avoid arguments in family life because it's so hurtful. It's obvious Dr. Torsunov is saying obvious things. They should do it, though what we have to do is not always obvious. For example, I say, women, you must respect the opinion of men. I repeat this 1,000 times, and in your mind, it always echoes the same thing. Well, we'll see what opinion and how to respect it. Or I say, always treat your wife gently and affectionately, and the man thinks, well, who knows what she's wearing or how she's behaving? Gentle and affectionate. Let her behave normally first, then I'll be gentle and affectionate. You understand? We still have a bit of ignorance in this matter because we can't immediately understand how important it is. Once a person understands this, they will never argue with the idea that a man's opinion, no matter what it is, should be respected. Because when you respect it, it will always get better. So if you allow the man to act according to his nature, you can change his opinion, change everything. If a woman did her makeup wrong, just be happy about it. You can change it, make her do it better. But if you don't respect the person's nature, then you're just destroying and diminishing them. And the question is, what should you do if someone doesn't respect you? A man behaves roughly and a woman doesn't respect the opinion of her loved one. What should be done in this case? This is very painful, very hurtful. You don't have love, you don't have happiness. A woman lives to be beautiful and her husband doesn't appreciate that. Then why stay with him at all? Such a question arises. Or a man, for example, feels that his opinion is not respected by his wife. He thinks, why stay with a woman who doesn't respect my opinion? Why do I need such a wife? These are the questions that naturally arise in one's mind. So, my dears, I want to tell you something. Knowledge is a very important and valuable thing. Right now, I'll share a piece of knowledge with you that will shock you. This is paradoxical knowledge, and it's very dangerous. It exists. It's paradoxical, dangerous, and shocking. Remember this. Love must have contact. It's energy. If you give love and your person is not connected, your love will just hit a wall. If your loved one gives you their love and it hits a wall, you won't feel each other's love. Remember, the ability to feel love is respect. Respect doesn't mean agreeing all the time. Respect is like a game. For example, you might think your husband's opinion is wrong, but you need to act like it's the right opinion. That's when your love will reach him. You nod, you pretend that it's right. You might ask, why do I need to do this? Isn't this deceit? Love can handle such deceit. Love cannot handle disrespect. So let's say you pretend to respect your husband and his opinion. You're a wise woman who always sees his foolishness. But you always show respect. Do you think he'll become wiser? Absolutely. Now you treat your wife with tenderness and affection, but she behaves very rudely. Do you think she'll become more tender? Absolutely. The paradox is that a person can perform all their duties except for one, respect. And without respect, everything else becomes useless. Let me give you an example. Let's say a woman does the laundry, cleans, cooks, has children, raises them, behaves rightly. She's the perfect wife. I'm not joking, I'm being serious. She's the perfect wife, but she argues with her husband's opinion. Now, another scenario, a man meets a woman who has never done anything for him in her life, but she always agrees with him, nods along. Who is he going to love more? Love energy doesn't flow without respect. You can do all these things, but the person won't feel it, and therefore won't be grateful to you for it. You can have children with him, cook, wash, clean, but if you don't respect his opinion, he won't feel your service. However, the man will accept the love of another woman who does nothing, but always agrees with his opinion. He will love this woman more than the one who gave him her whole life. This is a paradox. Or, for example, a man earns money, behaves right, has a strong character, no bad habits or affairs. He's just a great person. But if he behaves rudely at home, can't speak gently, and is rude to his wife. On the other hand, another man does nothing for the woman, but speaks to her with kindness and tenderness. Who is she going to love more? The second one. Love is a very paradoxical thing by nature. If there is no respect, no matter how hard you work, everything else won't help. So the foundation of love is loyalty and respect. Even if there's respect, people can be very gentle and kind. They may respect each other's opinions, but if they cheat on each other, there will still be no love. No matter how hard you try, it won't be there. Because love is built on purity, on loyalty. It's a divine energy. It's a pure thing. True love only exists in purity. There's no love in dirt. Remember that. If there's no loyalty, there's no love. If there's no respect, there's no love. So it's very important to understand these things. If someone doesn't understand, their married life won't bring them happiness. And also, love lives in spirituality. No relationship with God, no love. That's also something you need to know.
How do you learn to respect a loved one when the respect is gone?
This is the main issue in the family life of any couple. You might think that family life is based on feelings, but the truth is, it's based on responsibilities. For example, people say, "We don't feel love for each other. Why should we stay together?" People think that love should always be felt, but do you know that love comes and goes, but hunger always remains? That's a little joke.
Good one.
You know that love comes and goes. The feeling of happiness from a loved one depends on fate. It's here today, gone tomorrow. People should fulfill their duties and build their personal lives on duties, not just feelings. For example, if I don't feel love for my wife, but I treat her kindly and gently because it's my duty, because I want to make her happy, I will still have love for her, even if I'm going through a bad period, because my love will come from her showing gratitude and bringing it into the relationship. And let's say I have no respect for my husband. It's gone. I feel disgusted by him. When I look at him, I get sick. There's no respect, no feeling that I should be with him. No happiness at all, but I still respect his opinion. I look at him this way, and he will do things that make it pleasant to be with him because it comes from gratitude. So love is based on fulfilling your duties, my dears, not on feelings. Many people think that when the feelings are gone, love is over. When the feelings are gone, they say, "We've drifted apart. Feelings come and go. A bad period comes. Feelings vanish for 2 weeks." So what? Are you going to destroy your family? Are you going to leave your children as orphans? Just because the feelings are gone, you're done, right? It's foolish, a foolish idea. If everything is based on feelings, why would God create families where children are conceived? Children wouldn't just fall from the sky and fly away by themselves. They really come to your family, and once they do, you can't get rid of them. So love isn't based on feelings. Feelings constantly change. Love is based on fulfilling duties, and when people fulfill their duties, God rewards them with love, even during difficult times. That's how you need to understand it, and if you don't get it, you'll have to, or else you'll destroy your life. Because when someone destroys their family, they're destroying their life too. A person literally goes from woman to another. A man leaves his wife, his children, one woman, then another, then the third, fifth, 10th. It goes on. The same thing happens if the woman leaves her husband. One man, another man, the third man. That's how it is. Like in the song, "Here's what's happening to me. My old friend doesn't come by. Only transient, unstable ones come." It means she left her husband. Next question.
How can you tell that you're fulfilling your duties and not someone else's?
Have you seen that video? There's a woman washing a cat and she asks, "Is this okay?" And the cat responds, "Okay." Check it out. Just search for talking cat, okay? Look it up online. You'll see the cat getting washed and saying meow in a way that makes it sound like it's saying okay. Go ahead, take a look. And everyone thinks it's funny. Everyone is laughing at this cat because there's no obligation to speak, but it's a talking cat. because it says meow and it sounds like okay. When a person doesn't fulfill their duties, it looks funny, but it doesn't make life any better. For example, a woman goes into a combat sport with a man, let's say MMA. She decides to fight a man. It's funny. Of course, she's probably going to get her face punched in, but it's funny because it's not her nature to fight men. You fought with a woman, fine, that's normal, but fighting a man will just be ridiculous. But she decided to fight. What can you do about it? Some women like to fight. Why not fight with a man? Recently, there was a boxing Olympics, and there was a man who considers himself a woman, and now this is considered normal in the world. He was allowed to compete just because he considers himself a woman, and he broke a woman's nose. He just fought with her and broke her nose. And she said, "I've never experienced such a strong punch in my life." You've been competing with women your whole life. Now you're competing with a man who considers himself a woman. No matter what he thinks of himself, nature cannot be changed. Just because you think you're a woman doesn't mean your punch will be weaker. So now the Olympic Games want to change the rules again. If you think you're a woman, you'll fight with those who think they're women. With men too, who also think they're women, you won't be fighting with others anymore. And then we'll see who's stronger. Two men who think they're women, who will break whose nose. It's becoming normal. Or two women who think they're men, breaking each other's noses too. But if nature is not taken into account and you just want something, it becomes ridiculous. It's ridiculous that a guy who thinks he's a woman broke a woman's nose in a competition. Besides being ridiculous, it doesn't bring anything good, because when he broke that woman's nose in the competition, so many people wanted to punish him. I'm serious. Many people actually expressed online, "I just want to kill him, that's it." Imagine, a man who thinks he's a woman broke a woman's nose in a competition. What kind of life does he have now? Now all normal men want to punish him, not just break his nose. And I think everyone would agree with this idea. So yes, it might be funny to act against nature, but nothing good comes from it, because the whole world is up in arms about this. So it's better if a person acts according to their nature. It's better. If you want to consider yourself a woman, at least don't compete with women in boxing. If you want to consider yourself a woman, fine. Then fight with those men who also think they're women. They'll enjoy it too. It will be fun, and no one will be offended. But if you break a woman's nose, you may think it's fun, but every man on earth will be offended, and they might break your nose no matter what you think of yourself. Simply because you have the nature of a man, all real men will break your nose now. Every single one of them. True men. If a man considers himself a man and he is a man, he should break the nose of anyone who hits a woman. Is this normal, correct thinking? It is. So don't mess with these laws that God created. It might be fun for you, but it's better not to get involved with it. It can be dangerous sometimes. Sometimes it can be dangerous. For example, a man might want to babysit a newborn. This is not in his nature. A woman should do this. Can this be dangerous? Yes, it can. A man has rough senses. He won't understand what's happening with the baby. The baby could die or become ill because of those rough senses. A man cannot understand. A woman is created for taking care of the baby, to feel her child. A man is not. Of course, there are situations when there's no choice, but that's a different matter. So we shouldn't always think it's okay to act against our nature. You can, for example, pour water on the table instead of pouring it into a glass, but you won't be able to drink it. Maybe you could drink it if you were a dog. You could lick it off the table. But normal people drink water from a glass. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much, and see you soon.